KNRX just detonated 231.71% to $2.39. And if you blinked, you became liquidity for someone named Chad at a dark pool altar. Today we cover the biggest rippers, the fakest fades, and how not to tithe your whole account on this fine Friday.
231% is not a move. That is a glitch in the matrix, and my hotkeys just filed for divorce. In a hurry tone, if you are not subscribed, you are literally trading on dial-up while Chad is on fiber and taking your lunch.
Like and subscribe, sure, so you can watch Jet chase another candle like it owes him rent, an apology and a forwarding address. We will also cover why these things spike on volume and why most of you should not touch them after the third halt.
Macro backdrop matters. Reuters has GDP likely slowed but stayed solid. Bloomberg says the dollar is eyeing its best week since October as rate cut bets fade, and that generally tightens conditions for speculative trash, which is why the trash is paradoxically doing cartwheels in traffic today.
And if you like your account, smash like it owes you for slippage, commission, and emotional damage. We are breaking down KNRX, RUBI, TRNR, ALIT, and the weird ones, plus a big tech rotation sermon where dumping the kings is somehow the winning play.
Quick compliance with reality note. We do not have a specific catalyst headline for KNRX from the tape here, so treat it like a classic microcap momentum event, low float vibes, social amplification, and a volume shock at 93.53 million. The move itself becomes the headline, and the headline becomes your stop out.
Low float vibes is Oren's way of saying, I don't know, but I'm going to say volume shock in Latin. For me, KNRX was gap halt, rip halt, and then the VWAP test was basically a trampoline on fire, while market orders are yelling again.
Jet, your VWAP is whatever line your cursor is emotionally attached to. Real talk. After a 200% opener, the only edge is patience. Let the first liquidity trap snap shut, then trade the second move when spreads stop acting possessed.
My people, practical tip number 1 disguised as comedy. If you are buying after the third vertical candle, you are not a trader, you are a charitable organization with a market order. Wait for a reclaim of VWAP or a clean higher low before you start preaching.
Also look at relative volume. KNRX shows 2,537.12 rel volume, RUBI over 1,000, TRNR 80. When rel volume is that abnormal, traditional support lines become more like suggestions scribbled in pencil during an earthquake.
Suggestions in pencil is literally my risk plan. Okay, Ruby though, 151.15% to 179, 91.54 million volume, and it was down on the performance column like minus 20.09%. That is the most toxic combo rocket fuel in a dumpster. I love it.
Of course you love toxic combos. You are basically a walking liquidity trap with Wi-Fi. That mismatch is why you do not assume trend. It can be a dead cat bounce inside a bigger down move. Scalp the pops, respect prior day levels, and stop cosplaying as an investor.
Big theme today. Bloomberg says dumping big tech is finally winning. That is regime shift energy, not a one-day tantrum. So you get capital rotating in the junk rockets, while the mega caps take a nap and the algos act like nothing changed. Classic gaslight and grind tape.
If the dollar is strong because rate cut bets fade, it tends to pressure risk assets and long-duration growth, which ironically can push some intraday flow into high beta small caps as a casino substitute. But it also means fades can be vicious the moment liquidity thins out, like the bid just goes out for a smoke and never comes back.
Speaking of vicious, TRNR did 306.65 million volume at 42 cents. That is not a float rotation, that is a blender with the lid off. I tried to scalp the VWAP break and my fills came back in Morse code ... margin call.
Tip number 2 disguised as humor. If your fills come back in Morse code, size down until your broker stops sending you poetry, or trade something with a spread that is not a jump scare.
ALIT up 81.29% to 80 cents on 97.94 million volume, and I can already hear that chart hissing, I'll tap VWAP, then steal your lunch money. That is where discipline stops being a concept and becomes religion.
ALIT is a larger market cap than the others, 431.63 million, so the volume spike is meaningful, but it can be de-risking, short covering, or event-driven repricing. Without the specific headline, focus on structure, gap up, initial range, and whether it holds above intraday VWAP on retests.
Or in just said initial range, like we are in a lecture hall and I'm paying tuition. I paid tuition yesterday. It was called slippage, and the professor was my own market order.
The only diploma Jet earns is a certificate in overtrading, laminated in tiers. Speaking of macro, Reuters says US equity funds saw the biggest weekly inflow in 5 weeks. That can keep dips bought, until it doesn't, so stop marrying your positions.
And the Tesla headline. Reuters says they cut the US price of the Cyberbeast because buyers are struggling. When the future needs coupons, that is not just cars, that is sentiment. When heroes start discounting, the crowd starts sweating.
Also Financial Times, Nvidia and OpenAI dumped an unfinished $100 billion deal for a $30 billion investment. That signals capital discipline or regulatory complexity, but the narrative impact is even the gods are renegotiating their tab, which feeds the big tech rotation tape Bloomberg mentioned.
100 billion, 30 billion, I can't even negotiate my grocery bill. I just pay whatever the cashier spread is. Wait, are we sure today is Friday? My sleep tracker says the day is danger.
Your sleep tracker is the only honest indicator on this show. Yes, it is Friday, February 20th, 2026, and that means weekly options have everyone acting feral into the close-grown adults turning into gremlins at 3:59.
Friday, February 20th, 2026, the sacred day of I can make it back by close. Do not. If you need to make it back by close, you need a therapist, not a breakout, and your therapist does not accept out-of-the-money calls as payment.
For the record, we flagged this setup style back on February 17, 2026. When macro is mixed and the dollar is firm, intraday becomes more about microstructure and less about a long thesis. Translation: trade the levels, not your feelings.
Trade the levels, not your feelings, says the guy who cries into jazz records when the yield curve inverts. I'm kidding, Oren. Please don't blacklist me from your boarding school alumni network. I need someone to vouch that I'm employable.
I do not have an alumni network. I have a series of unanswered LinkedIn messages and one scene that haunts me. Back to movers. MBRX up 88.63% to 268 on 2.17 million volume, which is more thin liquidity repricing than everyone in America bought it.
And DTCK up 88.83% to 12.8 cents with 71.62 million volume. Penny land, where your stop loss is a suggestion and your limit order is a prayer you whisper while the spread laughs.
If you must trade penny land, here is the gospel. Take profits like you are stealing your own wallet back. First push is for the chat, second push is for your bank account. Third push is where Chad's altar gets fed.
AIDX up 177.78% to 2385 on 37.4K volume is the spookiest thing on the list. That is like 3 dudes and a family office moving the chart with a sneeze. One guy hits buy and the candle screams.
Exactly. Low reported volume with a huge price change can mean illiquidity, wide spreads, or a corporate action type move. Intraday angle: if you cannot get in and out near the mid, it is not a trade, it is a hostage situation.
Jet loves hostage situations. It makes him feel something besides latency. For everyone else, hard rules today. If price loses VWAP after an extended move, do not average it. That is just adding witnesses to your mistake.
Yes, and watch for liquidity traps. The fake reclaim above VWAP that lasts 30 seconds. Then rug. You want confirmation, not prophecy. I do prophecy, you do confirmation, and your P&L does the confession.
I did a fake reclaim once and my broker sent me a wellness email. It was like, hey buddy, are you okay or are you just chasing KNRX again? Okay, lightning round soon, but one more. Ruby and TRNR both have insane volume, so I am treating them as scalp machines, not swing ideas.
Lightning round framework. Pick direction only after the opening range sets. If it is extended, consider a fade to VWAP, but only if volume is decelerating and it fails a reclaim. Otherwise, trend day rules: buy dips above VWAP, sell rips below VWAP.
Lightning round prediction 1. KNRX either holds above VWAP and gives one more halting breakout, or it rolls over and becomes the greatest fade sermon of the afternoon. I am leaning one more push, but only on clean higher lows. No trust me bro entries.
Prediction 2. TRNR chops traders into confetti, then trends late when everyone rage quits. If you are trading it, your best setup is waiting until Jet stops talking about it. So basically power down your internet.
I am the signal Grizz. Prediction 3. Ruby gives one more squeeze, then fails a VWAP reclaim and becomes a scalp the bounces short if spreads behave. Also Elite. I think it tests VWAP like 5 times because it hates us personally and loves giving hope like a subscription trial.
Final prediction. DTCK and MBRX stay momentum dependent. If volume fades, they mean revert brutally, and AIDX remains a do not touch unless liquidity improves. Wrap it up. It is Friday, February 20th, 2026. Protect your downside and let the market earn your risk.